I was taking a well-deserved nap a couple weeks ago when I woke up to the news that one of my close friends had been compromised. While getting hacked is obviously not great, I didn't think much of it until I remembered his account had admin on my Discord server. So I jumped on my PC and I see my server is getting spammed with absolute garbage. Turns out some kid had remote access to my friend's PC, token logged his Discord, and was now treating my server like a free billboard. Long story short, the attack worked, but it was also painfully amateur. I managed to regain control, kick what needed kicking, lock everything down, and stopped it before anything truly catastrophic happened. But all of this really got me thinking about something we throw around a lot, but people don't really take seriously until it hits them. Operational security, also known as OPSEC. OPSEC is basically how you protect yourself online, not just from being hacked, but also from your identity being leaked and personal information being stolen. The uncomfortable truth is that most people have way more information floating around about them than they even realize online. So in this video, I want to cover two things. First, we're going to go over some famous, notable OPSEC faceplants, such as the Silk Road, breach forums, and one more. These are all high-profile cases where basic mistakes led to their downfalls. Secondly, I want to give you some practical tips for your own safety and security, especially if you're a part of communities like mine that involve hacking, modding, reverse engineering, and so on. Just a quick disclaimer before we go any further, this video is about privacy and safety for legal content creation and security research, not about hiding crimes. I do not condone that, and the point of this video is to keep yourself safe from doxing, scams, account takeovers, and so on, just like what happened in my server. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the video. One misconception about OPSEC is that it's not about having secret tools or employing some kind of wizardry. It's more so about becoming a better thinker. OPSEC is all about preventing linkage, and that comes down to spotting weak connections in your life. Which accounts cascade into other accounts, where one small mistake can blow up into a chain reaction that ends with you in a lot of trouble. That's why this video is sponsored by Brilliant.org. Brilliant helps you think better, and Brilliant will teach you how to design better habits that will actually hold under this pressure. They do that by helping you excel in topics like math and computer science through visual, interactive problem solving, and personalized practice. This builds real intuition, the kind you need for threat modeling and making very important security decisions. If you want to level up on that problem solver mindset, you can learn for free on Brilliant for a full 30 days at brilliant.org/cazz. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description down below, and you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription for unlimited daily access. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the video. Most people hear OPSEC and think, oh, I should use a VPN or Tor or a fake name. But those are really just tools. Having good OPSEC is more of a mindset. A way of life, if you will. It's about asking yourself what online information could link back to my real identity. Because attackers, and honestly, even just regular internet weirdos, don't need to hack you if you hand them the puzzle pieces, such as using the same username on multiple platforms, or using a profile picture that you also used on Facebook in 2017, a public email address used for work, gaming, and socials, a phone number tied to account recovery, a screenshot that shows your Windows username in the file path, a Discord DM where you casually mention your real first name, a single login without your usual protection. It's almost never one giant leak. It's always lots of small leaks that create a connection. This is linkage, and once a link exists, you cannot unlink it. You can only react. So I want to show you what that kind of looks like in the real world at scale. The Silk Road is a classic example that people bring up because the OPSEC mistakes are just so human. Early on, Silk Road got promoted on forums using the username Altoid. It showed up in multiple places. That's already a pattern. If you're trying to keep identities separated, then you don't want to use the same alias doing all the early marketing. But the really deadly part here is that months later, that same Altoid account posts a hiring thread and tells applicants to email rossalbrecht@gmail.com. That's basically the definition of preventing linkage being violated. You just connected your anonymous online persona to a real name in your email. You can be the most careful person alive after that, but the link already exists. And then there's the Stack Overflow moment. A Stack Overflow account gets created with the username Ross Albrecht and posts a question about connecting to a Tor hidden service using CURL in PHP. Then less than a minute later, the username gets changed to something else. Even if you try to clean up your act after that, the internet is not a whiteboard. People log things, sites keep records, and and investigators use those to create a link. The lesson to learn here is that OPSEC isn't just about being anonymous today, it's about not leaving linkable artifacts ever, because the timeline always gets reconstructed later. And remember, those guys in the FBI, that's what they do all day. They're being paid to do that. Another lesson here is that you should never mix your identities. Don't cross-contaminate. One slip can and will stain everything. The next case study that I want to talk about is one of breach forums. The FBI affidavit in the breach forums case describes a bunch of ties between the pom-pom-purin persona and Connor Fitzpatrick. One of the most wild parts, there's a discussion about searching a breach database for an email address that literally contains his name. Essentially the "I wonder if I'm in the leak" moment, which by the way is something normal people do all the time. It's not the act, it's what it reveals. You can do the right thing 100 times, but if you do the wrong thing just once, that one exception is often what matters and what will lead to your downfall. The lesson here is that OPSEC fails aren't consistent. They're exceptions. One misconfiguration, one lazy login, one "it's fine this time," and it all comes crumbling down. Also, OPSEC includes the boring stuff: email accounts, recovery methods, payment traces, shipping addresses, IP logs. People don't get caught by hacker magic, they get caught by operational sloppiness. The final case, and funny enough the shortest case that I want to talk about, is LulzSec. Sabu is another famous example because the reporting around the case described investigators getting onto him after he logged into a chat room without anonymizing his IP address. That's it. That's the story. One single moment of "I'll just hop on quickly," and suddenly a person is no longer a myth. They're a house, an ISP account, a real name. The lesson here is pretty simple. You don't need to be careless forever to lose. You just need to be careless once. So with that out the way, I think it's time to bring this back to real life, because most of you aren't running darknet marketplaces. Your threat model is more like account takeovers on Discord, Steam, Google, YouTube, token loggers, malware, quote-unquote free cheats, crack tools, doxing and harassment, scam DMs and fake sponsor emails, and everything that goes with social engineering. Here are some of the most common OPSEC mistakes I see. The first one is reusing usernames, profile pictures across personal and public personas. If someone can find your old Reddit, your old Steam, your old Instagram, it's pretty much over. Using one main email for everything. Your email is your identity backbone. If your email gets popped, everything else gets popped. SMS recovery and weak recovery options. Old phone numbers, backup codes sitting in your downloads folder called backupcodes.txt. Please don't do this. You are going to get pwned. Oversharing tiny details. Your time zone, city, workplace hints, your car in the background even, maybe a school hoodie, a reflection in a monitor. People are absolutely insane and they will be able to draw connections between these things if they really want to. The next thing is recording and streaming leaks. Any notifications, file paths, browser tabs, Discord DMs, a terminal with tokens, OBS scenes on the wrong monitor. This has happened a million times and it will happen for the rest of time. Don't make that mistake. The final thing I want to talk about, which is relevant to what happened to my server, is trusting random files. This is exactly how token loggers and rats happen in the game hacking and adjacent communities. Run this crack tool, disable antivirus, just whitelist it. Yeah, don't do that. That is a terrible idea. All of that leads back to my own incident where my server didn't get hacked. My trust chain actually got compromised. But that is still bad OPSEC on my behalf. So I'm going to keep this practical. Let's talk about some stuff that you can do without turning your life into a terrible spy movie. The first thing is that you kind of need to diagnose exactly what you're trying to prevent, right? And who am I preventing it from? If it's random doxers and scammers, your plan should look different than if it's targeted harassment or even account theft. No matter what, you should try and lock down your identity backbone, or in other words, your email. Use a password manager, unique passwords absolutely everywhere. Don't reuse passwords. Turn on strong two-factor authentication for email, either with an authenticator app or a hardware key, but try not to use SMS because that can get compromised quite easily. Be sure to review your recovery options, remove old phone numbers and emails that could give someone else access. You should also check active sessions and devices and revoke what you don't recognize. If someone manages to take over your email through a session cookie or something like that, they can get into everything else. Another thing you should do is compartmentalize your personas. If you have a public persona, especially a sort of hacking or security persona, you should never reuse handles, don't reuse profile pictures, try your best not to cross-link accounts, keep separate browser profiles. And if you want to get really extreme, you can use different operating systems or at least different partitions of an operating system. You should also keep separate emails for your public versus personal personas. The whole point is, if one thing gets compromised, it doesn't drag your real life in with it. or down with it rather. Another thing you should do is try and reduce your data footprint. Search your own usernames and emails. Check if old accounts exist, and if you can, try and lock them down or delete them. If your email shows up in breaches, rotate passwords and enable multi-factor authentication. And once again, I cannot stress this enough, stop reusing passwords. This isn't paranoia, this is basic hygiene in the modern world. Another pretty much common sense tip is assume all DMs are hostile. Most compromises I see in communities start with, hey bro, try this tool, or hey, I have a partnership for you, or hey, can you test this real quick? If you don't know them, then don't run anything. Don't trust their urgency, don't trust vibes. That is how you're going to get hacked. So yeah, OPSEC isn't just as simple as use a VPN and you're fine. OPSEC is preventing linkage, stopping small details from connecting your online life to your real life, and stopping one compromise from turning into a full collapse. Silk Road wasn't undone by some genius exploit, it was undone by identity contamination. Breach Forums wasn't just hacked, the operator got tied to boring operational details. LulzSec didn't need a super weapon to unravel, literally one slip was enough. In that case, logging in without his proxy or VPN service. And me, I didn't get hacked, my trust chain did, because one compromised admin account is all it takes. So do yourself a favor after this video, audit your Discord perms, lock down your email, turn on two-factor authentication, separate your identities, stop reusing passwords, stop downloading random junk, and treat OPSEC like something you do before you need it. Because when you need it, it's already too late. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As always, shout out to my sexy patrons. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.